Town of Chincoteague Recreation and Community Enhancement Committee meeting. Before we I thought I'd go to public comment and adopting the agenda, because I'm going to mess the agenda up by doing this. Brother Jay, if you would open us up with prayer and pray for the people in Afghanistan, I'd certainly appreciate it.
Okay. Heavenly Father, we just thank you for this day. We thank you for your blessings, Lord. We just ask you to watch over what's going on over in Afghanistan, Lord, or many Americans or many people are suffering and going through tribulations and such. Lord, we just ask your blessings upon them, Lord. Give them the traveling mercies as they transition through that country and back home, hopefully, Lord. And Lord, we just pray for the people themselves that will be left behind, that you would be with them, guide them, and use them and protect them, Lord. And Lord, we just thank you for this meeting, Lord, and let us do those things that are pleasing to you. For us in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Brother Jay. Now we're open for public comment. And we have a couple people signed up. I don't have the list in front of me, but
We got this out.
Good evening. My name is Joanne Moore. I'm wearing two hats tonight, one as the Marketing and Event Coordinator for the Chincoteague Chamber of Commerce and one as a board member of the Museum of Chincoteague Island. In regard to bringing Civil War trail sites here to Chincoteague Island. The Civil War Trail began in 1994 in Virginia, and there are now almost 1,400 sites across 5 states, and Pennsylvania will be joining the program soon with a bunch more sites to come. The trail is an economic driver for Civil War travel and envelops the open air museum concept, which during the pandemic obviously has gained much more popularity. Statistics show that Civil War travelers stay twice as long as other guests, spend a quarter of their budget on food and beverage, and enjoy other area attractions while visiting an area that has a Civil War site, which all equates to increased tot and meals tax revenue. The Civil War Trail has several sites across the bay, as well as on Maryland's Eastern Shore. But Drew Gruber, who is the executive director of the trail system, is working hard to connect those two, because right now there are no sites on Virginia's Eastern Shore. And he's looking at possible locations in Cape Charles, Exmoor, Onancock, Saxis, Tees Corner, and here on Chincoteague. I have given you all a packet that's sort of the general how to get a site in your location information, for you to review. But I am asking for the town's consideration and support of site locations here on the island. The Battle of Cockle Creek, the attempted stealing of the Assateague Lighthouse Light, and aquaculture and siding with the North, because of that industry, all lead themselves to locations that would be on town property, public lands, from a visibility and a parking availability standpoint. Although Drew, he envisions that there could be 3 locations on the island, each designated to one of those stories, possibly having a marker at the Waterman's Memorial at Curtis Merritt Harbor could be a first good location to focus on the Battle of Cockle Creek. Markers are ADA compliant. Signage boards, very similar to the signage boards that are down at Robert Reed Park, and contain 250 words and several images to go along with the story. As part of the trail, we would be included in their interactive map online, as well as Virginia and Maryland Civil War Trail brochures, which are, very detailed in themselves. Coastal Virginia and the Eastern Shore of Maryland are also looking at developing trail maps of their own, and we would be included in them as well, just because of our proximity to both of them. Trail marker itself, a site board, costs $2,600. The content would be developed locally through a collaboration of individuals here on the island that have a marketing and a history background. The markers tend to last 7 to 10 years, but edits can be done every 3 to 5 years based on continued research and visitor-based changes, but there is no additional cost for those revisions. Funding for the sign could come from the town, or a Virginia Tourism Corporation marketing leverage grant could be applied for to cover the cost of that $2,600. There's also a $200 annual fee. That is for marketing, for the podcasts, the printing of the brochures, and things of that nature. That is typically paid by a destination marketing organization, which the Chamber is, and the Chamber is willing to contribute that annual fee. Drew comes to Chincoteague a lot. He is very familiar with the island and the Eastern Shore. He's very happy to come and speak either to this committee or to town council, in a more formal setting with more information if you're interested. But it's just something that we would ask for consideration going forward. I didn't know if anyone had any questions.
Thank you. And you're working, the Trails is working close with the Chamber, is that correct?
I met Drew about 5 years ago at a VA1 conference, and this is something he's been trying to do for probably 10 years. And he has reached out to the Chamber on several occasions, asking for our support. I actually had brought this to the previous town manager probably about 5 years ago, but it never moved forward in any planning processes. So he's got this renewed interest in doing it because there is this gap. If you look at the maps, the Western Shore has all these Civil War trail sites, and Maryland's Eastern Shore has all these sites, but there's nothing on Virginia. And he's really having this concentrated effort right now to bring that connection so that people stop along the way and don't just travel through.
The reason I was asking that question, Vice Mayor Mott's a member, and he would keep us up informed. You would have a liaison, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. And he will just work with him, and then he'll get it to us. And
well, I think I'm assuming what you need out of the town is the ability to put the markers on the town property.
Right.
To see what. So I guess
because people probably want to see end content too.
Right. That's what I mean.
Or anything.
Oh, sure.
Here, that's in this kind of climate. Let's just say we want to see end content.
Sure. Absolutely. Absolutely.
We don't want something that's been trained in Chincoteague in a bad
Right.
way. So that's
Right. And like I said, the content is developed locally. We would definitely pass it through the town for, your approval once it was developed, to make sure that it's telling the story the way that we want it to be told, and not, through some. And that's why they want the content developed locally, is because they want it to come from the locality of what that message is.
So where are you thinking on the public lands that you would put these?
Drew was thinking the first one could be up at Curtis Merritt Harbor somewhere, and up at the memorial, because it's higher elevation. You have a better vantage point of Cockle Creek from there. He had talked about maybe down at Robert Reed Park, because of the aquaculture and all from that side of the island. And the lighthouse, obviously, we're probably not going to be able to get the marker over on Chincoteague, but even possibly having it at the museum, because we have the Fresnel lens there, and you can see the lighthouse from that vantage point. That's not town property, but and I had even said, well, could we combine all three stories into one? Because from Curtis Merritt Harbor, you can see those different vantage points, but with 250 words of content on a storyboard, you're not really giving a story. You're giving a sentence or two on each topic. So I think Drew would like to see the Battle of Cockle Creek be the first, and then we could always grow from there and do additional site markers, as time goes on. But
is it $200 per sign?
Yes, and it's $2,600. Well, I don't know. No, I'd take that back. It may not be, because I'd have to get some clarification on what that $200, if that's just for the locality or if that's per marker.
And do you have a deadline this year of when we would need to generate that $2,600 to
No,
on the maps for next year?
The brochures get printed pretty continually. So if we missed, say, the print deadline for this round of brochures, then we would be incorporated into the next one. But no matter when we came on as a site.
That you're talking about, is that something the chamber would apply for?
Right, if we did the They applied for MLP grant, other things that the chamber's doing. The museum definitely could do one under them because they are party and listed on the website, and that's the criteria. You have to be on virginia.org to qualify. And we could, as a chamber, could definitely help write that, and we could make that work, I think.
So what you're looking at from the town is, like Chris said, permission on
Right.
one of the, I mean, in my thoughts, Memorial Park has a great vantage point of aquaculture,
Mhm.
the history of Burton Seafood over there,
Right.
and clamming.
And the lighthouse,
as
you
well
can
as
see,
the lighthouse.
right, right.
And there's plenty of room there.
Yep,
Not that I wouldn't like it at the museum, but if it was $200 per sign, I think that might change our mind as to whether we wanted one or whether we wanted three.
right,
And
right,
I would think the chamber would want to consider that as well.
right, right. And I'll definitely ask if it's per sign or per
says per
location.
sign.
It's, yeah,
It does say per sign, okay,
it's actually
Oh, yes.
an annual membership fee.
Right.
$100 per sign. So
right.
that's continuing then, and the 2,600, is that, if
That's for the sign,
more than one sign, if you were to go with more than one sign?
that would be $2,600 per sign,
Per sign.
per sign.
Well, I wouldn't have any problem having one of these kiosks at one of the parks, at either one of the locations that you said.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to proceed forward with, hearing about, proceed forth, I guess.
Got a motion, second, all in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Chairman, so I made a motion was to proceed ahead with
You
investigating.
would bring in more, information.
So
Yeah, I
would-
was assumption to let Joanne kind of spearhead the effort,
Yes,
and,
yes.
when we get something back to us. that we can-
And would you like Drew to come present something more
That's totally
formal?
up to you.
I mean, because he presented to Evelyn and I virtually, so I mean, that's maybe something possible he could even do, if
I mean,
you're
that wouldn't
interested.
necessary for me, I wouldn't need to hear him here, but I mean, that's,
I mean, what
take
Vice Mayor
whatever.
Bott is saying,
Yeah.
you're spearheading it, what
Okay.
you want, what you want to bring to us, we're open ears.
Okay, all right, I appreciate it, thank you very much.
Thank you. And Ms. Kathy, I think you're next.
Is that the person in the back?
Miss Ellen, she's here for promotional support for me.
Oh, how wonderful. Well, my name is Kathy McCallion, and I came to talk to you about pickleball. I've been beating Jean up about it and Harvey, and I see it's on your agenda, so I'll just talk for a minute. I don't know if any of you know about the game of pickleball. I know Jean plays it. I know Jay plays tennis with me. But pickleball is played with a paddle and a ball that looks like a wiffle ball. It's a combination of ping pong, tennis, and badminton. It's played on a smaller court than a tennis court. Right now, we play indoors at the Activity Center 3 days a week. We have 3 indoor courts. There's so much interest around here that today we had, 26 people? We've had up to 39. You play 4 people at a time, so it's packed. We have two outdoor courts that really aren't, they're makeshift outdoor courts. I believe the spot they're on was the launching pad or the area that they built the bridge on, so it was fenced in and asphalted to do that. Fence is crooked. There's one court out there. The second court we painted on, but it's on asphalt that's got lumpy and bumpy and chumpy. So there's a lot of interest. If you Google Chincoteague pickleball, you'll get the times and the places to play on Chincoteague, and people are doing it. They're coming here to play, they're coming here to visit, to go to the beach, and to play pickleball. And so there's lots of people playing outside. We've got lots of people playing inside with us, and those courts are embarrassing. Pocomoke just redid 6 courts. We go on, this is my husband I keep pointing to, we go on Thursday evenings to Pocomoke to play on the outdoor courts. They have 6. They have their concerts going on. You could do it right there with the farmers market and the CCA. There's opportunity. Pickleball players have gone to Virginia Beach for tournaments. You pay for the tournament, you pay for your hotels, you pay for your food for a couple of nights. We've got that opportunity here if we expand and have decent pickleball courts. I see it's on your agenda. So what I'd like to do is stop talking, and when you get to that item on the agenda, perhaps I can answer some questions. I'm also the president of the Chincoteague Tennis Association. That's also on your agenda. So I'm going to sit here and answer any questions you might have when you discuss that item also. Is that okay? And I have a couple of questions about what's on that motion. So when it comes time, I ask or make some changes to that.
This is kind of when you want you to talk.
When you want us to talk, we want to talk now. Okay, so if you look at the thing for pickleball, I have a couple of questions. First of all, we only have 2 courts out there and not 3. And the biggest thing that, and it's really a question to Harvey, when you got a new quote for the tennis courts, it's also to stripe the new pickleball courts. Will they be painted with that paint that's sand or rubber, the paint that goes over the tennis courts?
Yes, they'll use the exact same material they use on the tennis court.
Okay, so it won't just be drawing a line, it will be painting it?
Yes.
Perfect, and it will be the stuff with the sand or the rubber mixed in with it?
Yes.
Perfect. I think those were my two questions and things I wanted to say. So, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Any questions for me?
Pickleball was named after a dog. It was. A dog named Pickle.
A dog named Pickle, and then somebody's wiffle ball. So it's a fun game.
I would like to entertain a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And now we getting an update, and that's a good update on Beyond Commerce Park. I guess the first question on that one is to Harvey. Great job, and I think we can do a soft opening. Am I right or wrong?
Yes, we can. As early as Saturday. I don't know what your,
Hey, y'all got a problem with Saturday?
No.
Soft opening? Okay. Miss Ellen? Miss Ellen, I will go down there and try it first. We think some things are a little tall, but if her and I can get on and use them, that we think the kids will be okay. He thinks we're teasing.
Well, when's the music gonna be turned on?
music, that's going down.
You have to make it.
Yeah, you get dudes go play it.
Ooh.
You gotta make your own.
But and all joking aside, too, there's so many people in this to thank. But Chris, looks like things are going to turn out good for the town on this. But I do appreciate you bringing this for the Budget Personnel Committee. I mean that by my heart. Because, I mean, it was time to get this thing done. Don't you think so, Ms. Donna? I think it was time to get it done, and y'all's hard work, and it was a public-private partnership, and that's what I was talking to you about the other things. But it was a nice, and with this ARPA money, I think things going to work out for the town too, in a good way. But like you say, envisioning sometime take the leap and get something done. I just think the job y'all done and all the hard work's going into it is I know it's a soft opening, but I'm gonna take it definitely.
What is the, I'm just curious, because I saw we've spent 449 to date, 63 left. What's left to do?
Biggest thing left to do is the restaurants.
Okay, that's part, so that's
Yeah,
63
this
is
is
part of
everything.
it. In the pavilion.
Yeah, well, most of the pavilion cost is already in that.
It's already in there, okay.
Yeah.
And are the furnishings for the pavilion in there, or they're next up? A couple tables weren't in anything we ordered
Yeah,
first.
and that was, no, they're not in there, but we went round and round, if you were gonna pay for it, I say that, the fund was gonna pay for it, and it was not in the original budget, no.
Well, Kiwanis donated money for
Yes.
one. My first question is, what's the difference in tomorrow or Saturday as far as if it can be open for the public?
We've got a little bit of mulch work left to do, we gotta go get some mulch tomorrow, and we need to put in the plastic borders that go around the perimeter. Could you use it tomorrow? Yes, you could, but,
So my 3-year-old great nephew won't have to say, Aunt Donna, the playground is closed. I want him to say, yes, we went and enjoyed it. Would the town be making that announcement, or would you want me to make that announcement to say that the public's open to go in,
We
but
can-
it's not
certainly
complete
do
yet?
it on our usual venue, media, that's Facebook and the website, but anything else that you'd like to do, put on the radio,
No, I think a Facebook announcement would probably open up the gates for people to know that it's okay for them to go
we
in.
can,
I mean,
take a finished picture of it, put a finished picture on the website. Along with.
And the Facebook page.
And Facebook page, sure, and along with an announcement that said, you know, the park is now open for use.
But it's gonna be a soft opening, and it's,
Yeah.
that we've still got the restrooms and the pavilion and that one piece of the adult fitness equipment.
It still hasn't come.
It's
another
on the
piece,
boat to China too.
It literally, yes, it is on a slow boat from China.
So-
And then we've got the equipment, but the trail that goes around the perimeter, we still have to install that equipment. And that'll wind up right.
Well, it looks great, and the musical equipment is, I mean, I played Twinkle Twinkle Little Star very easily. It's got a little book right there, and it's very easy to do. And the sound is really great quality. Do you have any idea of when we might be able to plan for a grand opening? If we say there's a you know, soft opening now and the public's able to go in, have any projection of?
As far as restrooms and 100% completion, I guess you'd call it, mid to late October.
So we could have a Halloween grand opening,
Yeah.
perhaps,
We
end
should-
of October?
You know, and there's some variables in there, so don't hang me up if we don't make that, but that
Just
would
trying
be
to
my.
kind of pre-plan that we could
Yeah.
say it, thereabout,
Yeah.
end of October could be our goal.
Yeah, and the restroom, obviously, the long pole in that tent is construction of the restroom.
Okay, my next question is going on to phase two. You all know I'm very committed to making this accessible to all, whether that be a wheelchair or somebody that has a weak leg, that has a hard time. I mean, I have a hard time going through that mulch, and if you have any questions, go over there and try to walk through that mulch. It's very difficult. And so, I had sent Harvey and Mike some information on some companies that do it. This one is located in Rock Hall, Maryland, and they come into this area, I suppose. The other one doesn't say where they are. It says they service Virginia, but it's called Titus Surfacing. So what I would like, whether you will contact them or I will contact them, I think it would be better if you contacted
Yeah,
them.
and I'm happy to do that, Tom.
Is that the kind of thing where we'd have to get different estimates from different companies, or, I mean, I didn't find a whole lot of companies out there.
If we, if you settle on a certain product, there's more than one company that provides that product in the same general specifications, yes, we would get more than one price. If the product is unique and proprietary, then we probably wouldn't be able to get more than one price. But I think the product you're talking about is probably available from several different suppliers from manufacturers, so yes, we would attempt to get similar prices.
So I saw some in Virginia Beach that didn't say they travel outside of Virginia Beach, but I don't have information on them. But this Mid-Atlantic Products,
Therein lies the problem with Holy's Shore contractor. A lot of contractors don't travel outside their area, and based on the volume of work that you're proposing, they're not willing to go that far out of town to do that small amount of work. So that's what generally limits us to a certain number of contractors.
so can we start with this Mid-Atlantic? I'll leave the Titus Surfacing information as well. They do Pennsylvania and DC. Kind of makes me think that they're more located up in the DC area. But Cindy, Faith, and I would very much like to meet with their representative. I mean, this Mid-Atlantic says, you know, that they come and help you from start to finish. And there's lots of different ways you can go about it, whether you make it a solid color, or whether you have a hopscotch design in there, or whether, you know, there's lots of things you can do which probably add up on the cost. Team Brianna has $20,000 set aside. The last plan that Pete Lawler did for us had the musical equipment in a semicircle with the the poured-in place going around the outside of the musical equipment, and then one straight pathway down that would lead you to the steps. It doesn't help you get into other areas of the playground. But I would really like to know from this company how much it would cost to do that path. The estimate was $20,000, so we've set aside that. I would love to fill in the whole semicircle that is the whole musical section. I'd like to know an estimate of how much that would cost. And thinking real big, I would like to know an estimate of how much the whole thing would cost to get it. You know, whether it took us 5 years to get to that point where we could afford to do that or not. But I would love to see a total amount of having it all done. Salisbury just opened one that I've read about. I haven't visited, but that surface makes all the difference in the world as far as accessibility.
Is it a composite type?
It's a
material?
poured-in rubber.
Okay.
Maybe that one has better pictures of it. So if you will contact them and let me know when they're gonna come see us.
I will set something up and inform you.
Yeah, and Cindy and I would really like to be involved in the
Sure.
design of that, and
Said I'll reach out to them and I'll certainly let you know what.
and we
they
have a
say.
little more than the 20,000 that we're willing to spend if it. I don't guess it's gone down in price any, but we can go more than the 20 if it. But there's also inside that semicircle, it could be AstroTurf. There's no fall zone with the musical equipment, so you don't have to consider that soft surface as you do in the rest of the playground.
Correct.
Okay.
And while we're talking about Brianna's Commons Park, and I can just talk about a restroom, don't you think as a committee we should have a handicap accessible? I hate to talk about porta potties anywhere, but kids gotta have a place to go to the restroom in emergencies. You know, I mean, you got a lot of younger, smaller kids, and that are down there. I hate for them to have to drive clean to town and go to the restroom and then come back. So I mean, would anybody up here have any problem putting a handicap porta potty on the property till we get a restrooms done?
I do.
Thank you.
My other question is a sign, and we had talked before about using the side of the bathroom. And, you know, Chris, I'll disagree with you about opening up room for graffiti to come along. Murals are really widespread throughout the country as art now, but considering that we're not going to do the side of the building as such, I think there should be a sign that matches the Amrine Recreation Center sign, just on the other side of the road. And if you remember the soccer ball logo with the butterfly and the musical notes, what I have asked Miranda to do is just change those words around so that it would say practice kindness, practice along the top of the soccer ball and kindness along the bottom of it. And so rather than the town logo being on that side, it would still have lettering exactly like the Amrine sign, but it would say Brianna's Kindness Park with the Brianna logo. And I think putting them right across from each other would kind of, you know, give it a
You're talking about the
welcoming
standard, was it
feeling.
blue poles and white sign that we use? Yeah.
One just like the one that's on the side of by Amrine Center.
Yeah, and they're actually a little bit different, right?
Different.
Yeah, I had no problem with the graffiti. I think when I was talking about it, I didn't think we should take that part of the bathroom and make it solid block. I thought we had talked about adding an exterior boards to that.
Right,
to
we
like
can
change
still do that, but as you approach it, I think it would look good if you had kind of matching signs across from each other. This side's the recreation center, this side's the park.
No, I'm just. And since you mentioned the block, that's actually evolved.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Now we're using brick.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, the same thing applies if you do any kind of, you'd want an
Yes.
exterior attached piece of
Yes.
ply. yeah.
Exactly. And also Harvey made a deal with the mason, we had originally planned cut face block, which is on the small bathroom at the harbor. It's nice, it looks commercial. The mason said he would do brick at the same price, he must really hate that block.
Because it is very heavy if you've never picked one up.
So he's gonna do, block and brick, and it's a very pretty brick, he's really a big guy.
And can we still do the square in that we had talked about
We
before?
were just talking about applying an outside board to apply to the wall for the, any mural.
Well, it wouldn't, I don't know that it would be a mural now. CCA is very interested in working with whatever they're given to work with, whether that be a framed up. I mean, there's things now that are very much like chalkboard that you can paint on and take off. So what I'm asking is, and Harvey's shaking his head, that we
could
cannot
mount-
do a
We
frame on
could
the outside
mount
of that?
something to
Yes.
the wall, Donna. It wouldn't be, part of the wall itself per se. But yes, we absolutely could mount.
But like
something.
we had talked about before, that we could put something in there that was framed up that we could
Well,
change out and,
Yes. I mean, but we would go over top the brick, whatever we,
It'd be on there or not in there.
it would be like a frame on a wall.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay, so what I'm saying, to be clear, is I don't want the sign to take the place of that opportunity
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, well, that's just a matter of securing it to the wall, so that's not a problem.
Okay, before Mike had talked about putting something in between those
Yeah.
tiles.
Yeah, in the
that we
mortar
had
joint.
fit in there. I got another question, but I forgot what it is right now. I might wanna come back then. I think of it.
And actually, you can do that in a committee comment or something.
Yeah, okay,
Maybe by
I'll
then.
think about it.
Yeah, I know the feeling, I'm right there with you. Does anybody else have anything on the, Brown's comments part?
Saturday.
And there's just a lot of thank yous, a lot of thank yous. My gosh, I mean, she can tell you, a lot of unknown thank yous to people that's moved here and give thousands of dollars. That's,
People that haven't even moved here, they just.
and yeah, and
vacation.
that's what I'm trying to say, people just visit here, give thousands of dollars. That's,
Yeah, and-
Our second
And I would like to
homeowners.
publicly thank the public works group.
oh my gosh.
They've done a
Definitely, they've done an
Yeah.
outstanding job.
pretty miserable
Very good
working
job.
conditions, so.
But, and it's so nice, that's the thing is, they just do a good job, it's just turned out, you know what I mean? It's not, you can do hard work and you done the best you can do, but it turned out nice. And you gotta definitely thank them for us, and it'd be
Yep.
a legacy for them.
You can definitely see that we have the expertise in-house.
Oh,
to
yeah,
do a lot
no,
of
ain't
these
no way
things,
around it, absolutely.
And then have something come out looking very
I've
nice.
fussed that for years, you know,
Professionally done.
absolutely.
So I thought, before we move on, it's come to me. In phase two, I would also like to put shade and landscaping, just on our radar to start talking about that and how we might get money. I don't know if there's any in the budget for next year that'll be available for a phase two, or if there's any ARPA money that we might be able to tag into for phase two, or if we need to really go back and start cheerleading and we're ready to do that.
And that's good, yes.
And I mean, the fire company's raffle is up to 6,000 plus a few hundred, and it still goes on until 2022. So there'll be another big surge of people buying those tickets. So I expect that to be up to at least $10,000 by July of next year.
I think when people start using it, you know, they want to do more things, I think it's gonna be a whole lot of problem.
Well, for our next fundraising,
Fundraising.
I would like to have amounts that the shade's gonna cost us, landscaping's gonna cost us. The master gardeners are willing to get involved, the library's willing to get involved, Misty Foundation wants to get involved. Kiwanis said they may consider at another date donating some more money for the picnic tables. And CCA still wants to very much be involved. So I think if we can give them a target on what we're raising the money for, specifics, that we'll be able to do that with no problem.
Yeah, and keep in mind, Donna, the landscaping for the micro-filtration basins, which is where all the stone you see, that's in the plan, in the budget already.
Landscaping is,
Yes.
and then who makes the decisions on what's purchased?
When I work with a landscape architect up in Salisbury.
I would like it if we lean toward native plants and things that attract butterflies.
Yes.
Of course, a lot of the same things that attract butterflies attract bees, so we don't necessarily want to do that so much. Do you know where the outdoor chess sets are gonna go?
In the vicinity of the pavilion. Not sure exactly where.
Maybe on that side of it?
Well,
Is the
that-
pavilion and the bathrooms all fitting in where that stone is?
no. Pavilion's actually going close, it's down in the direction of where the old backstop was.
So where the stone is where the bathrooms are going?
Uh,
There's a rectangular section there with a
Yes.
lot of stones.
Yes.
There's a stake in the middle of it.
Yeah, well, the stones are around it. The stones are stormwater management. That's what all those stones are there for. There's all kinds of fancy pipe systems and everything in the world under those stones.
And so,
But if you, when you first pull in the parking lot, on your right-hand side, and I'm actually gotta move it back 10 feet for, to put the septic tank in, but just as you enter the parking lot on your right is where the restrooms will go.
all right, well, that's about where I'm talking about, is the square of stones. So where those stones are, is the bathroom toward the soccer field or beyond those stones?
It's further down Smith Street on the stones.
So it's the stones and then the bathroom and then the pavilion.
Yes,
All right, so there's some stakes on the left-hand side of those stones.
yes.
What are they?
Take those stakes, there's 4 of them, they're the corner stakes for the bathroom.
Okay,
Take them and move them 10 foot further down Smith Street, and that's where the restrooms are going. Towards the adult athletic equipment.
so when you pull in the parking lot, once the bathroom's there, you won't be able to see that athletic equipment? Is that what you're saying? They'll kind of be on the other side of the wall from that?
Kind of. Don, off the top of my head, I don't think it lines up exactly.
Okay,
Uh,
so you're saying
But you will certainly be able to see it from the parking lot.
well, it doesn't matter to me if you can see it or not. I'm just trying to line up visually where the bathrooms are gonna be.
You know what his
Where-
4
where
stakes
the
he's talking
chess
about?
set-
You know what his 4 stakes he's talking about
Yeah.
are?
Yeah, that's the bathroom.
He said, go like you're going to the Baptist church, down there toward the Baptist church.
Okay, so that's the bathroom, and then will the pavilion be closer to Smith Street,
Be further down Smith Street.
but closer to Smith Street than the bathrooms? Like the,
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, and we have some flexibility there if there's something that, I'm open for suggestions as always.
So the pavilion is on the corner of the property?
Yeah, well, we won't go quite to the end. Yeah, see, there's the old backstop.
it'll be
Maybe
further,
we could
further
bring a
down Smith Street.
site plan back to the committee before we execute all the
We can-
permanent placement of
We
the,
can do that.
Yeah.
Sure.
because you'll have a back, maybe actually have a site plan in hand.
And bear in mind that
It's a little hard.
since the engineer drew the site plan originally, we did not have all these structures located on this original site plan. His task was to do stormwater management for us, locate parking lot and that sort of thing, but all the structures we've been placing, we've been doing in-house, and we don't have capability to do the drawing, but we'll certainly do some sketches for you.
Yeah, I think that should be, we ought to get a site plan, what we've got now, before we proceed forward with anything more. We can bring that back to committee and all look at it.
And when you get the site plan, go ahead and put the 4 corners on both, the
Yeah.
pavilion and the restroom, exactly where they're going. That way.
Yeah, I mean-
Well, I think the question's gonna be coming from Mr. Landsberger at some point, where's his chess set gonna go, and I'd like to have the answer.
Those questions have already been asked.
Yeah.
Yes. Me and Mr. Landsberger spent a nice afternoon out there one day, and he was perfectly content with everything.
You mean recently?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Well, the library has talked about having a reading corner somewhere. So I don't know if perhaps that could be with the chess set up. Yeah, I need to see a site plan so I can see what land's available for,
Well, and that's not gonna have the chess table,
but it'll have empty space.
yes.
Okay, that's all.
Is there anybody else have anything on Brianna Connors'
Thank you,
part?
Harvey, thank you, Mike.
Budget?
Looking great.
You mentioned the handicap restroom. That's gonna be located, will that be located by this Saturday, or, I mean,
Yeah,
He
I'm
can make
sure
that happen.
I'm sure I could.
He
get
can make
one
that happen.
done
They'll
before
they'll come down, deliver it, and, I just said get the handicap, like I said, that way it takes care of and get closer to where, and when anybody says anything about it, just tell them that's total temporary until we get a permanent facility, which is on the plan, you know, and this is just for, so we can do a soft opening without somebody having a terrible inconvenience, you know. Yeah, thank you very much, thank you. Is there anybody else, beyond Connor's part? Okay, the next thing is the update on the tennis court rehab. And I guess what's happened, I guess they had, our contractor that we plan on giving the contract to, because he was the only one that did it out of 4, guess went up on us, what, $20,000?
Just about.
And,
Mr. Chairman, our original quotation to resurface the tennis courts and do a few minor repairs was $40,000 and change. The Tennis Association offered to contribute $13,000 for the project. We included a line item in the budget, in the FY22 budget, of $30,000. And we have, Harvey obtained a quote from, what is it, Tennis Incorporated, something like that, to do not only the tennis courts, to resurface the tennis courts, but to include the basketball courts as well. They were done at the same time originally. The total quote was about $39,000 and change. Well, I should say just over $40,000 and change. The quote was good for, I believe, 90 days. Of course, we got the quote early last winter. So the quote's now expired, and in normal times, a lot of vendors will keep their quote as long as materials don't go crazy. Not so in this case. We're in a little different times here. The new quote that we received from the same vendor just a few weeks ago was $61,934. Bear in mind, this is the only out of four companies that were queried to provide a quote. This is the only one that we received. Now, we will still attempt to receive additional quotes. There are several companies that do these things. Again, as I was telling Don a while ago, the difficulty is sometimes it's getting the work this far out of time for the limited scope of work. Right now, I would recommend to the committee that we put this project in the hands of the ARPA committee, which will meet the latter part of September for the first time. They will have a list of projects and costs in front of them to consider. And if the ARPA committee sees that it should, or deems that it should be included in the with ARPA funds, then it can be released as soon as the decision is made for resurfacing. But we have, I think everybody knows, we're getting over $2.9 million in ARPA funds, and we already have 50% of that in the bank. But I would recommend, since this seems to qualify for the ARPA funding, to let the ARPA Projects Committee make this determination.
And Kathy, what that would mean, the tennis association would not have to pay the $13,000. So the tennis association would be able to keep that money.
Yep.
That's where we're going with that. What I would like for Harvey and the tennis association, I would like for you to check the project, especially when somebody's charging us $20,000 more. I like to have a background and make sure these companies know what they're doing and have done work that's decent. It was called, is Tennis Incorporated, is what you're saying it was?
Yeah, I've already verified.
They're good?
Yeah.
You've seen their stuff? You know what I mean?
Well, I've seen it.
But I mean, have you talked to people, like I said, because I mean, that's not, when somebody raises the price $20,000 on you,
Well, and
I
they said,
want that going good work.
It's $31,000.
No, that increase was,
31,000.
And they assured me that was all material cost. It wasn't, you know, they're not marking up labor and overhead and all that stuff.
Is this $61,000 quote hold for a while?
I believe it was for another 90 days.
And when y'all meeting? When are y'all meeting though?
In this October.
So that's not that
And
far
I'll
away.
verify that.
So I mean, I think y'all would look at it favorably, wouldn't you? So we still be on track.
Does that need a motion?
Yeah, I got a motion that says we'll go to ARPA funds and let an association keep their money and try to run it through ARPA, and then he's also gonna, are you gonna check for another, vendor to give a price? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll check. Like I said, I called for last time. The good thing, these people are actually on a state contract. They do a lot of work in the state of Virginia, which actually simplifies procurement, but I will certainly,
No, if you, like I said, I'd rather,
yeah,
sometimes you
well,
get a price and you don't get.
It's either, I couldn't even get anybody else to even come look at it.
I just wanna make sure at that kind of increase in thing that it's gonna get a good job.
Yeah, like I said, I've talked to them and it's material cost.
Well, I make a motion that we send, this item to the ARPA committee.
Have a motion, do I have a second? Sure. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The pickleball court is kind of going down the same road, and I know I've been talking to you about, you know, and normally in the future, as Donna would tell you, there's a lot of public-private, is kind of where things are going now, and that's a good thing, but, right now, I mean, these are type of projects that ARPA people want to see, the outdoor, you know, activities for people, and they're needed, you know, and,
Mr. Chairman, if I may, the pickleball project, Harvey got a couple different prices with a couple different scopes of work. But
that's on this page, yeah.
the one we thought was appropriate was we will remove the fence, the existing fence, repave the entire pickleball court, of which there's an uneven surface there right now, and also at the same time pave the entire parking lot in front of the DJ the Amron Center gym. And just for background, that asphalt was originally put there when I think I was in the 4th grade, and it's never been resurfaced. So
Right.
it's got some age.
It
but
needs it.
It needs it, yeah.
Yeah.
So, to repave that entire lot will give the pickleball association or the pickleball courts a nice even surface now. It'll also, when we put the fence back, the fence will be put back squared up, so there's room to put the extra court that the pickleball association would like to see. And we'll use the same fabric, but put new posts and rails down.
Now, it was $5,000 for the fence, is it gonna be a new fence?
We'll use the same fabric that we took off, but all the posts and rails will be
You
new.
know, we're gonna put also, new doorways, entrance and
We
exit.
can reconfigure the gates for that as well.
Probably gonna need at least
We
two.
did not
How much do you
get-
think two, you probably don't want 4, but 2, I think 2 would need to be put back to,
We did not have an opportunity to get quotes on the fence work, but we
5,000
used
will do it.
5,000 from
they
experience.
will do
will
it.
handle
It would even, I can include the new doors, I think we'll do it. You're doing it yourself, right?
Well, we'll hire a contractor to do it, but we'll probably demo it, right?
Yeah, I mean, demo, it's a matter of cutting the post, because we're gonna cut the post off.
And now, and like I say, now, on all this, is that including, new posts and nets for the pickleball nets and posts? Is anybody, or is that something you're still planning on going with,
See, I'll price them, and that's something I easily can absorb in the regular parks.
got it, okay. All right, then that's one that took.
They're not big
So what I'm saying is you're getting new surface, same old fence, but with 2 new doorways, whole thing would look, and it would look more uptown, I feel more uptown, and I'm not gonna lie to you, right now, I think outdoor sports are a little more desirable, I'm sorry. You know what I mean, it's crazy, but,
And
but
again, the striping for the courts, the court layout and everything was in the price for the tennis court.
tennis court, right? So, I mean,
Now, if for some reason we did not get the tennis courts done, or the project wasn't approved, we would have to go out and get a new striping price, but that shouldn't be a big deal.
I make a motion that be sent to the ARPA committee.
I have a motion, I have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Now, committee comments. Ms. Donna.
Harvey, I've just been waiting to ask you this. You know what I'm coming to? What happened to the pirate ship at Memorial
Oh,
Park?
we're working on that. Yes, definitely, seriously.
Seriously.
Yes.
No, it's a kind of joke between
No,
Harvey
no,
and I, because
it-
I've wanted
It's
to
not a
go,
joke,
and
it's
he
not a
keeps
joke.
protecting it,
Not a joke.
and it's gone.
It was decayed to the point that I had no choice but to get rid of it.
We made a command decision in the office one day, just take it out.
Thank
Somebody
you.
got hurt.
Because it was done.
However,
We want to mention that bench before we do comments.
Yes,
Oh.
if I may, Mr.
Absolutely.
Chairman. We have a request to place a bench at Donald Leonard Park. 6-foot bench with a plaque, Donald Leonard Park. It'll be completely paid for, and what was the, hang on, what is she going on? Just one second. The phrase that would be on there, it's a beach day, love and miss you every day. Author Stingo, Stingo, would be the phrase that would be put on the plaque that would be put on the bench. And the request is to place it at Donald Leonard Park.
And this gentleman, while they picked that location, this gentleman actually spent a lot of time sitting up there gazing out over Big Bay.
motion,
Motion.
second?
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
That brings me back to
Go ahead.
benches for Brianna's Kindness Park. They were ordered,
Yeah, they're here,
they're here, but they're not there.
right, because there's benches in the playground. There's a log bench and there's some benches in there already, so my understanding right now is those benches are gonna come over on the trail or around the pavilion where, again, there's no room to put them in the playground per se because of the fall zone restriction. So if you have suggestions on where you would like to see some of these benches, again, all ears.
I gotta have site plan. Cause certainly seating inside the park is important, and determining where we might put shade depends on where those benches might be placed.
You know, like I said, everything is laid out, the equipment, not the musical instruments, but everything is laid out, you know, to observe the fall zone, which basically is 6 foot, a 6 foot radius around any piece of equipment. So we cannot put the bench near any of the playground equipment. We could put some over by the musical instrument, but like I said, there's already a couple benches over there, so.
Well, if there's not enough room for parents to sit, you'll start hearing it from people other than myself. But back to Memorial Park and the pirate ship, is there any plans to put something else there?
Gene has asked us to look into a composite ship, same configuration, which Harvey's done. Right now, we're looking into whether that is actually meets the code for the National Playground Association or several associations. We don't want to put something in there that's from backyard, one of these backyard companies that was built, you know, in somebody's garage. That's not really adequate for children to play on. It's not been approved, in other words.
What grade were you in when the pirate ship was put there, Mike?
I think I remember that.
Well, you said exactly where I was headed, but when we were upgrading the equipment at Memorial Park, the fire company had said they wanted to put in a fire truck of some kind, and I looked at a lot of different fire trucks. But right up at Backyard Escapes, there's a really cute fire truck. Now, whether it would be compliant or not, but on my way to Lowe's one day, I thought, oh, that's a really cute fire truck. So I think a fire truck might fit in with Chincoteague even better than the pirate ship. And I think we should avoid having something like the pirate ship where the kids can drop down a pole from up high and really hurt themselves. And also, you know, we had the problem with teenagers going in and having their parties on the inside in areas that kind of were private and closed off. So I think we should avoid any of that if it happens to be a pirate ship that we get.
Anything else this time? Or Jay?
I just want to commend the town and all who participated in Rihanna Park. It's I've been over there a number of times just looking at the progress and such, and you guys have done an exceptional job. And Donna and you and all of you, your group has done an exceptional job as well as on the planning, and the fact that it's going to have a soft opening this Saturday. It's going to be great, and it's something that our kids are going to really enjoy, and the fact that it's got a true meaning to it as well. Just as special, and it's good to see that we're updating the tennis courts and pickleball courts and such. It's going to pickleball as well for a while, and it's a ton of people that comes to those events, and tennis as well. Tennis, all ages. I mean, I was playing out there the other day with an 18-year-old, and I think it's the same pickleball. Between 18 and 80, it seems like, it's good. So, and just want to commend everybody who's participated in all of this. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for introducing the Civil War stuff as well, Joanne, and I think that's a project we should pursue as well.
Thank you, Brother Jay. Chris?
No, just job well done, especially to the town staff. I think we'd originally established the completion date in October for Brianna's Park, so that's good to hear that we're still on target with that. That's impressive, especially given the supply issues and shipping and so forth. So that's impressive. I think needs commendation. I'd like to see us follow up again on the committee, at least in October at some point, to monitor the pickleball and tennis court progress. I know we have actually budgeted items for this in this year's, so we don't want to let this go.
It would.
Just a total throw off into the ARPA funds, because the town needs to maintain these facilities as well, especially with the increase in revenue we've experienced this year. We need to stay on top of it from a committee standpoint. So.
You could deduct that 30 out, from the ARPA part. Thank you. Again, I want to piggyback by is for a public-private partnership. A lot of efforts and remember, donations of land, of serious monies, hard work. But it does say that people of all kinds and can work together, and different thoughts and different things. You know what I mean? But when you can work together, you see an end project, and it's great to see. Great to see it. Now, Donna said something about teenagers hiding out and stuff. And I know Kathy's seen stuff, damage and stuff. I think we have to sincerely look, and not because Jay and I has coached that age group, to have something on this island for the teenagers. Do some thinking, do some praying, but we got some kids that are hiding out in every neighborhood. And I'm going to tell you something, not preaching, I promise you I'm not. But the streets have something for them. We need to provide them something else besides the streets. And we've got to come together, we've got to do some thinking, and especially while we do have some ARPA money. I'm not saying we have to hoard this or that, but we do have to have something as an alternative to the streets for these kids, and I'm calling them kids, they're teenage students. Let me just address proper teenage students for something productive and clean and an alternative to the streets for them to do. And so everybody, everybody's listening, think about it, pray about it, and let's not just talk bad about them and run them down. Let's provide something and provide some of our own time for them. That's what it takes, And so everybody keep that on this, especially on this committee right here. Think about it, pray about it, thoughts. I know you work with the Boy Scout, but if you have something, but when you don't have nothing, So, a lot of things are shut down, and you see it in every little niche and corner, in everybody's neighborhoods. People just hanging out in pockets. So, want everybody to, think about that age group.
Well, the pirate ship was very popular. Harvey, you did take it for, as long as you possibly could. But I rejoiced when I found out it was gone. But we do need to keep in mind, the graffiti that happened in there, just the.
No, I'm not talking about, I promise you that's not where I'm going. I'm thinking outdoor sports.
Yeah, that's a good point, because we
ev-
don't have the skate park anymore, so we've got a gap in the activities for that age group. Yeah.
I mean, everybody picking it up, let's have something, get together and have stuff for them. An alternative to just the streets. Because if you don't have something, the streets do. So, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Thank you all very much, and thank you all for participation. How is, the, Boy Scouts program?
Yeah, I think we're starting up this year, like 18. That's good. That was good. We had a lot of right big group that aged out.
Brother, we'll keep you in your prayer. I promise you, I'm not being funny. I can't thank you enough. Because guess what? I'm not being funny. You do? I get money. They're going there all day long. Yeah, me too.
All right, boys. See y'all.
That's not an easy ask. That's not an easy ask, 400,000 for a park, Chris. You know what I mean? Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
I was in Pennsylvania at the time, but I called him from Pennsylvania.
Well, Harvey, thank the crew for us. Thank the crew for us. Thank the crew for us.
Absolutely, thank you.
From that. Really gonna.
So instead of graduating her undergraduate teaching degree, she'll graduate with graduate.
Come available and we found the fire extinguisher or whatever, and now they did and so forth, because I actually went over there.
Learn what it needs in order.
Now, where,
Good, Land Harvey's only got a Robert Rule of Order out there.